The new Jurassic World movie is scheduled for release on July 2nd of 2025. The film is said to be a pretty big departure from the previous trilogy, and one rumor even suggests that it could be rated R. But is this actually true? Why do people want a rated R Jurassic Park movie? And what have we legitimately heard from official sources on the film that could give us some clues for what to expect? What's going on, guys? Hope you're all doing well. Now, there's a pretty popular rumor going around right now that says Jurassic World Rebirth may be rated R, with David Koepp and Gareth Edwards shifting the film series into a much darker tone than I guess we'd ever seen before. Now, these rumors come alongside the other rumors that say that the film is going to be way more grounded, serious, and brutal when compared to its predecessors over the last few years, but I think the evidence to support an actual rated R product has not only been blown out of proportion, but I actually found some things that help shed some light on why people are even saying this. And it goes deep. It's not just from Jurassic World Rebirth. We've got a lot of stuff to cover. So first things first, I was able to find a couple of articles from InsideTheMagic.com that I think most of these rumors are coming from. The first of which, ironically, is talking about Jurassic Park survival if you get past the headline, and not Jurassic World Rebirth. So the whole rated R thing seems to be different from even what the ESRB rating would wind up being for a brand new video game. So, you know, it's more of just a title thing. Now, I was able to find another article from the same website talking about a prequel, but ironically, it was kind of also just talking about Jurassic Park Survival, a video game, not a movie. Although the idea of Jurassic World Rebirth being darker was talked about a little in that particular article too. So if you want to straight up be honest and have an answer to this stuff, there really isn't any evidence to support this R rating for Jurassic World Rebirth just yet. And I think this is kind of getting way too big of a rumor to be taken seriously right now. However, the concept of an R-rated Jurassic Park movie goes back to Michael Crichton's initial book, which is of course way more focused in that direction than any of the film adaptations. Still, there is an obvious shift in tone when you compare the audience's perception of the last few Jurassic World films, particularly Dominion, to the original Jurassic Park movies. And I just found something that I thought could shed some light on what we can expect for the new film, and also why the last trilogy may have felt way off in comparison to Jurassic Park, The Lost World, and even some stuff in JP3. So Gareth Edwards and David Koepp are far different filmmakers than Colin Trevorrow. In fact, in an interview the man did way back when Jurassic World was coming out, Colin Trevorrow actually said this, quote, "I didn't watch horror movies when I was a kid. I didn't watch any bad movies. Okay, so I don't really want to throw him under the bus or anything here, and I understand kind of what he's trying to say, but if you watched my last video where I talked about why Jurassic Park needs to be scary again, I think you'll get why I don't really agree with Colin's statement right here. And the idea that a horror film would typically be associated with something bad in quality, as in it's just rarely good, that's not even necessarily something I disagree with. I talk about bad movies all the time. But I think he does misunderstand what people actually mean when they say they want Jurassic Park to return to that more scary or horror-oriented route. I think he's associating that with something very different, and he's not actually thinking of Jurassic Park or The Lost World. And this is something made a little more obvious when you check out another interview from Colin Trevorrow back when Jurassic World Dominion came out, and he was asked point blank, how traumatic could an R-rated Jurassic film be, and would Universal Studios ever allow that movie to exist? To which Colin responded, "It's hard to answer that question. I don't know. I do know that if we made A Quiet Place, if we made a hard R, really scary version, potentially very contained, I know I'd want to see that movie." Okay, now, did you catch that? Because that actually seems like a pretty telling thing right there. Colin just said that if they made an R-rated Jurassic movie, it could be compared to something like A Quiet Place, and he'd really like to see that. There's just one really big problem. And I truly don't think he knew this, because it helps put things into perspective in my opinion, and it reveals why the Jurassic World trilogy kind of turned out the way it did. A Quiet Place is only rated PG-13, guys. Just like Jurassic Park is, just like The Lost World, and really just like all of the Jurassic World movies. So... Got him! what we're talking about here has nothing to do with rating and everything to do with tone. And you know, when it comes to how Colin views A Quiet Place and the level of intensity and scariness that is in it, I think he subconsciously, I guess, just figured that it was rated R because that was way further than he would ever want to go in Jurassic Park. And he's even just said that here. He wants to see that movie, but he doesn't think that's rated PG-13. Now, I don't think he really meant to say anything dastardly here or anything like that. I'm not trying to be overtly hyperbolic or anything like that. I just think that this kind of reveals how the last few Jurassic Park films were written on a very basic level. It's not that this sort of content is off limits for a Jurassic World film because, hello, A Quiet Place is rated PG-13, but it does reveal that the filmmaker isn't aware that this is the kind of potential that Jurassic Park still has. Enter David Koepp and Gareth Edwards, who are definitely taking things in a different direction. And look, I don't want to jump to any conclusions, but while I think it's very unlikely that Jurassic World Rebirth will be rated R, I just want to say that I don't think that's going to happen, guys. I do think it will be way more of a serious movie than the last trilogy and more akin to Jurassic Park and the Lost World, like A Quiet Place is. And that's mainly because it's being made by people who kind of like those sort of ideas and motifs and darker science fiction. Well, Colin seems to have not really grown up on that stuff and isn't really interested in it. It's nothing against Trevorrow. I think this just kind of reveals the truth about why this is such a big topic and why the rumor took off so fast. The last few films were really made to be a different thing when compared to the first trilogy in tone and a lot of other ways, either subconsciously or not. So yeah, that's something to consider when comparing the sequels with one another. So is there going to be a rated R Jurassic World movie? I highly doubt it. However, if you're looking more towards a Lost World Jurassic Park sort of a tone, even somewhat like A Quiet Place, it's more than likely going to be rated PG-13, and that is still on the table. So with that being said, guys, I'd love to hear from all of you. What do you think about the idea of a rated R Jurassic World movie? Do you think that this is going to happen? Do you think it's been blown way out of proportion? And does this shed any light for you personally on why the last few movies kind of didn't have that darker and more scary feel after, you know, we just heard straight up what Colin Trevorrow thinks about not only horror movies, but also he thought A Quiet Place was rated R. So whatever your own thoughts and opinions happen to be, I'd love to hear all about them in the comments down below. Now, before I go, I want to thank everyone that's helped me build my channel over the years. I'd also like to thank every one of you guys who've watched my stuff. You've all been extremely cool to me. If you enjoyed the video, I'd appreciate a like and hope that you'll consider subscribing. God bless you all. Christ is King. See you guys in the next video. And as always, take it easy.